All right, guys, we're back with video number 3, and we got to get this bike set up. Right now, today is the day I want to take the rear tire off. We got to disconnect the motor, figure out the brakes so we don't mess anything up, and I basically want to get this put in this little corner right here. So let me get to that. Let's move some stuff, and then we'll get on to the video. All right, so we got the bike on the stand. This is a great stand. I will put the link in the description for it so you guys can check it out. And this should be pretty clean cut for now. We're gonna have to cut some of these zip ties. There should be a connection to the motor back in here. It's just I think it's a screw off connection. And then we're just gonna have to take these off. And then once we get these off, we'll probably take these dropouts out so we can see where we're at. All right, so if you guys have already taken a wheel off of a Super 73 and fixed the flat, you already know exactly what to do. Everything to me is new. It's pretty simple, basic, straightforward. You gotta take the nuts off of both sides. You do have to loosen this little, I guess you could say a little bracket that kind of squeezes down the axle just keep this plate together. Then you gotta take the brake off and put the screws back in here so they stay. Now I gotta get my little wire snippers, which I have right here. And we gotta cut some of these because there is a connection to the motor that's right in the back of here that we gotta disconnect. And then we should be able to just slide this off after taking the chain off on the other side. All right, so this is the cable that sits right behind the Super 73 logo. You had to cut some zip ties. Once you do that, this just unscrews and you're good to go. I can tell that my wire has been getting cut into just a tiny bit right there, but all right, let's get this back tire off. All right, very easy job to do. The wheel is completely out. You do have to take these screws all the way completely out that are on these little plates right here. I didn't know you had to do that, but honestly, a tire swap on this thing is pretty simple. And here is the old rim, motor, tire, all that stuff. And here's how the bike sits as of right now. Let's go get the other motor and compare it to this one real quick. And let's weigh it. All right, so as you can see, we got both the 5,000 watt motor and we got the original RX motor. And you can already see the massive difference in the motor size. This is gonna improve this bike so much. And I got my scale off to the side right here. So let's, I'm gonna stand on it myself, which I'll do right now. And we'll see exactly like how much I weigh. I'm just gonna leave my shoes on. And it's saying I'm 159.5 with all my clothes and shoes on. So let's get this motor right here and let's weigh it up. Is it 185 even? It looks like, yeah, 185 even with this motor. Set this back in here. All right, so let's get on the scale with this. Even though I know we do have a tire on it, that is gonna make a slight difference with the tube. 182.5. All right, so not as big difference as I thought, but then again, we do have a tube and a tire in that one, so weighing them with that on there, maybe we'll do it down the road and we'll weigh them again when there's no tire or tube on any of them. But not too bad of a difference, I think. If you notice, there is no tire on here. And the website does show that it comes with a tire. Doesn't look like a very good tire, but there is no tire on this when I received it. Sadly enough, I thought it was gonna come with one. So that means you have to use the Super 73 tire, which is not a big deal. It's an okay tire. It does slip out when you do corners and stuff like that. But I highly suggest getting a motorcycle tire once you do this upgrade. For now, I'm gonna use the Super 73 wheels, but I would highly suggest doing it, which I'm gonna do down the road. But as of right now, I'm not, just because I wanna get this setup done. But that's something you should look into. These tires, not that bad, but not the best either. All right, so because we have to go to the machine shop, we have to get this hole right here enlarged to this size pretty much, and that is not gonna fit on there. So this is gonna have to be taken to the machine shop with a little washer and then they can drill it out perfect. You could try to do it yourself if you want, but honestly, I highly suggest a professional doing it. So since we don't have that done yet, we can't put the motor on the bike, we are going to swap out some of this stuff. So we're gonna need this rotor onto here. So let's get that done and start swapping some of this parts like the cassette and all that stuff. All right, so that was simple enough. We just needed a Torx bit and we took all the bolts off, which are actually right here. I'm gonna put these back on the stock wheel so we do not lose them. And we put the new, well, not new rotor, but we put the used rotor on the new wheel. And same rotation as the stock one, so we're good on that. The next thing I'm gonna probably start on is taking this tire and tube off and we're gonna transfer it to this one. All right, so now that we got the tire and everything off of the stock wheel, let's now see how much I weigh. See if we can get a good reading of that. 176.5 with no brake rotor and no tire, no tube. All right, so this wasn't something I was expecting. I did know that we were gonna have to use the liner that's on the inside of the Super 73 wheel, but let's come over to the new motor where I'm trying to work on it on the little carpet so I don't scratch it up while I throw my tape. And anyway, so this liner, I've been struggling with it the last, I don't know, you could say the last 5-7 minutes or so, and it doesn't line up. So this is supposed to Velcro together, so we obviously have a little gap right here. The reason why we have to use some type of liner is because you have these little holes right here that the spokes go through, and they will probably pop your tire, so you need some type of liner. So we just, like I said, we just took the one from the Super 73, but since it doesn't line up, I didn't plan this, but I have some perfect thick tape right here. I think this is actually like 4 inches. So we are going to slap probably 2 layers of that right here just so we don't have a little gap in between here. Just something that you guys should know. Obviously, I'm trying to show all the issues or stuff you're gonna run into while doing this build, and that is gonna be one of them. So let's move on after I tape this and I'll show you. All right, and as you can see, I put 1 layer of tape in here, so that should do the job. We shouldn't get no flats from any of the spokes or anything like that, so that's all good. Now we basically just have to get the tire and the tube aired up on here and get a complete wheel set going. I did notice that the previous owner did have some tire liners in here, so it's gonna make it a little bit more difficult for us. I would probably highly suggest getting tire liners, or at least put some tire slime in your tube, because you do not want to get a flat, especially if you're pushing this Super 73 to be 55, 60 miles an hour. All right, just like that, YouTube magic, the tire is on. We aired it up to about 30 PSI, and everything looks good. It looks like it's lined up perfectly. The only issue that I had was the valve stem. Since I put tape inside of it, the nut that goes onto it to hold the tube in place from moving around, mine I think is stripped because I couldn't get too many threads on it. That's my own problem because I put tape in there. So just keep in mind that if you do what I did, that you might want to cut a little bigger section out so your threads can come through for that. If we get a flat, we already know how to fix it pretty easy. These tubes are like 25 bucks. But yeah, so we got that in, and let's go weigh it right now with everything on it. All right, let's see. 193 pounds. So this is one hefty boy once you get everything put on it. That is a pretty massive weight difference. So something I learned from doing this setup, when you order whatever size Super 73 kit, it will say if it's for the R, the ZX, the RX, all that stuff. And these are 190 millimeter dropouts, right? So I thought I had to modify this side, but you don't. This side actually goes on. So I thought we were gonna have to do this side. The only side you have to do is this side. But basically you're gonna wanna take that little washer and this bracket down to a machine shop and have them drill that out. Now, you can do it. I have my own Dremel. But if you notice, you are gonna have 2 straight lines and an oval on both sides. So I mean, I'm gonna have a machine shop do it just so mine's perfect. But yeah, that's all you gotta do because this won't obviously fit. It's barely a little bit smaller than the axle. Once this little bracket is done, we can slide this complete wheel on our Super 73 RX. And then at least all that is done. I am gonna get a little cap for this. I don't know what I'm gonna use. I need to figure something out. Yeah, I just don't want no water to get in there. And I'm hoping we can use the stock battery and the controller for all the headlights and all that stuff. But I'm gonna zip tie this back up here so it's all hidden. But I'm gonna do that when we get the new wire coming through, because the new wire is gonna come through here up to here. As of right now, that's all we can do. I appreciate you guys watching the video, number 3, so stay tuned to number 4. My hands are dirty as hell, but we're getting the Super 73 build done, so hopefully one of these days I'm gonna go to the machine shop, drop off that dropout plate, have them modify it, and then we're gonna get the wheel installed. The enclosure is gonna be shipping in a couple days, so we should get that next week, hopefully. And then we'll start mocking up the battery and the controller, and we're already gonna have the motor on the bike. So that's pretty much halfway there, other than all the electronics, the LCD screen, the throttle. But to me, I feel like that's easy stuff. It's just mostly routing and zip tying and how you want to set up your, your bike and all that kind of stuff. So see you guys in the next one. Appreciate it. Later, guys.